Hey, Sunny here, and due to popular demand, today I'm going to be talking about Watashi wa Ame, its related event, and all of the symbolism and themes behind it. Plus, I've spoken at length about every other Night God member, so I think it's only fair that Enna gets her own video too. So find your umbrella, grab a pair of rainy boots, and let's get into it. Watashi wa Ame, or I'm the Rain in English, is a song by Inabakumori, which was commissioned for Enna's fourth focus event, Knowing the Unseen. Before this, two of Inabakumori's songs were already in the game, Relay Outer and Lag Train, which received a Sekai version by Meiko, Mizuki and Kanade. And then a little later on, Lost Umbrella was added as well, which received a 3D MV and Sekai version by Night God. Inabakumori got into Vocaloid in high school and started making his own music under his current producer name in 2016. He has named Wawaka as being his biggest inspiration, with the song Tenohira being an example of the kind of atmospheric music he enjoys. Inabakumori almost exclusively uses Kai Yuki, and this is because he felt that her voice suited his music the best. And I'd have to agree, as her soft yet unpolished vocals really fit the wistful, almost dreamlike sound of Inabakumori's style. Another common trait in Inabakumori's music is songs being themed around the weather, with his first two albums literally being called Anti-Cyclone and Weather Station respectively. And this is because Inabakumori has an interest in geography and everything relating to it, so he often includes elements like weather and nature in his songs. I'm the Rain is no different, as the song's main theme is written right there in the title, and this isn't the first time Enna has been associated with rain either, as all of her focus songs prior to this one also referenced rain in some way. But before we delve deeper into that, we need to take a look at the event story, Knowing the Unseen. The story starts with Enna drawing in her room and trying to improve her craft. We then cut to Enna's art class where Mr. Yukihira announces that he'll be holding a special course on technical mastery. Enna recognizes that this course is a huge opportunity and that she should apply if she wants to attend art school, but she doesn't look confident about it. Once she's back at home, Enna's parents are discussing her father's upcoming solo exhibit. And this news only makes Enna feel worse as she starts thinking that someone at her skill level wouldn't be able to attend art school. The next day during art class, Enna is still distracted by her thoughts and having trouble concentrating on her task. Mr. Yukihira notices this and asks what's on her mind. Enna tells him that she's not sure about what she wants to do, to which Mr. Yukihira offers her a special lesson outside of the classroom. Cut to the Sekai, and Enna is telling everyone that for the special lesson she'll be helping out with a solo exhibit. However, when the others ask if they can come and see it, Enna's reaction is strange. Mizuki asks what's wrong, and Enna reveals that she'll be helping out with her dad's exhibit. Enna isn't looking forward to being around her dad's artwork, but she still wants to attend to see what her teacher has to say. On the day of the exhibit, Enna arrives early to meet with Mr. Yukihira, and they go and greet Enna's father. He doesn't say much though and just kinda thanks them for their assistance. As instructed, Enna begins moving paintings around and thinks to herself how amazing her dad's technical skills are. However, she quickly regrets looking at the paintings as she starts to compare herself to them and feel inferior. Rin and Len spawn in and remark on how beautiful the paintings are, but notice that Enna isn't happy. Len asks Enna if she doesn't like her dad's artwork, and Enna says that that's not the case. She used to really love his art, but now his works just remind her of how she lacks the talent to achieve the same results. Mr. Yukihira comes over to check on Enna and asks if she's been able to learn anything from her dad's work. Enna says she hadn't been paying much attention to it, so Mr. Yukihira asks her what she thinks of the painting beside them. The painting is titled A Peony Blooming in the Night, and Enna explains that on the way home from hospital after Enna had been born, her dad saw a single peony on the side of the road and decided to draw it. That doesn't answer Mr. Yukihira's question though, as that's only the backstory of the painting. He wants to know how the artwork itself made Enna feel, and this is the main point of this story. If Enna wants to learn, then she must face her dad's paintings and look at them with her own eyes. Not as his daughter, but as a fellow artist. She needs to put her own complicated feelings aside and try to see what her dad was trying to express through his works. Anna walks around the exhibit with Rin and Len, and they discuss the paintings. Len commenting that one of the paintings feels rather dark, as do most of the paintings in the exhibit since the theme is deep in the night. This makes Anna realise that as they've been going through them, the paintings have gotten darker and darker, with less sources of light present. They stop at a painting of a dark room which has been trashed, with paint cans everywhere and a canvas laying on the ground. This description makes me think of Anna initial 3-star or her Bloomfest card. Anna recalls seeing this painting once before, but her dad quickly hid it away from her. Upon looking at the painting closer, Anna notices just how rough the paint strokes are, and senses that her dad must have been frustrated when he was working on it. Which of course is just like how Anna has felt in the past when her drawings weren't working out the way she wanted. Len suggests that her dad must have been having trouble drawing too, but Anna finds that hard to believe since he's so talented. Like, there's no way he'd ever struggle to paint, right? And then they arrive back at the painting of the peony blooming in the night. Anna takes a good look at the painting and considers more than just its backstory. She comments that it feels less dark compared to the previous painting, as the moonlight is illuminating the peony beautifully. There's still something off about the painting though, and Anna wonders what was going through her dad's mind when he painted it. Mr. Yukihiro returns, and this time Anna gives him an answer, saying that she feels pain from the painting. However, she also feels that it's trying to express a sense of hope. Mr. Yukihiro then explains that Anna's dad once went through a long creative block where he struggled to paint anything at all. He wasn't able to pay the bills and his wife had to support him. And then when Anna was born, he asked himself if he could really continue being an artist. That was when Shine painted the peony, intending for it to be his last work. Anna can't believe what she's hearing and can't imagine her dad ever wanting to quit art. Around this time, the rest of Night Court arrive at the exhibit and are excited to look around. Just as they're hoping that Anna's okay, they notice her staring intently at the paintings. Anna is still thinking everything over and remarks on how she used to just think of the peony as any other pretty painting. But now that she knows the full story, she's completely absorbed by it. The rest of Night Court see this and decide that they shouldn't bother her. Cut to the end of the exhibit and Anna is heading home with her father. She decides to ask him if it's true that he almost gave up on art. Shine looks surprised by the question, but admits that he never had any confidence in his work. He would paint to please others instead of actually painting what he wanted to, since no one understood his vision. But even so, he never gave up and kept painting even if it was causing him to suffer.
あの頃の俺は画家としても男としても何も成し得ていなかった。宙に浮いたままくすぶり続けている。どうしようもない男だった。だが、そんな時にお前が生まれた。
It wasn't until Anna was born that he saw a glimmer of hope.
今も覚えている。お前が生まれた日の夜、病院からの帰り道であの花を見た。暗がりの中で小さく咲いているあの花が、さっきまで腕の中にいた赤ん坊のように見えた。暗く寂しい画家人生を照らす小さな光。それが俺の最後にふさわしい絵かもしれない。そう思って俺のすべてをその絵に乗せた。
After completing the painting of the peony and pouring everything that he had into it, Shine realized that he couldn't give up art. He wouldn't be able to live without art in his life, so he fully committed himself to it instead. This makes Anna think about what art means to her, and she realizes that she's the same way. She needs art in her life as well. And it's here that Anna comes to realize that she and her dad aren't so different after all.
絵を描かない私なんて、私じゃないから。絵を捨てたら、私は私のことを許せなくなる。そっか。私もそうなんだ。悩んでも苦しんでもきっと絵から離れられない。覚悟か。
She thanks her dad and declares that she's made up her mind. She's going to keep drawing and become the artist that she's always dreamed of being.
才能がないのだって分かってるし、うまく描けないことばっかりだし、今のままじゃどうにもならないって思ってる。でも絵を描いてない私なんて想像できないから。描いて描いて描き続けて。 それで画家になりたい。
Her dad tries to warn her of the hardships that are to come once again, but Anna cuts him off, saying that she knows what the path of becoming an artist entails and that she's ready to face it. She's ready to commit herself to art just like her father did.
今日のあんたの絵を見てたらわかるよ。でも私だって絵を捨てられない。あんたの子供だからなのか、ずっと絵がそばにあったからなのか、もうわからないけど、でも絵から離れられないの。だから自分の責任は自分で取るから。
And then, finally, Anna's dad recognizes her resolve and approves of her dream.
好きにしろ。
ありがとう。この先きっと苦しいことしかない。あいつみたいに。あいつ以上にずっと苦しみながら描くことになる。けど私は絵から逃げられない。それならもう進むしかない。私も絵と一緒に生き続ける。私にはそれしかないんだから。
And that's where the story ends. I like this story a lot as it really shows just how much Anna has matured both as a person and an artist. In her earlier focus stories, Anna was very emotional and would break down at the slightest bit of criticism, but here we see just how far she's come, now able to face her father's paintings and think about them critically, without letting her own feelings interfere. Sure, she still feels inferior, but that doesn't discourage her, and by the end of the story, she's more determined than ever to make her dreams come true. This story also does a really good job of humanizing Shinonome Shine, who up until this point has been treated as some god at art with boundless talent who can do no wrong, whereas in reality, he was no different from anyone else. He went through art block, he struggled, he felt worthless and almost gave up art, just like Enna at the beginning of her story. And this explains why he was so harsh on Enna when she said she wanted to be a professional artist. Was straight up telling his child that she has no talent and will never achieve her dreams a good way of going about things? No, not at all. Why the heck would you say that, my guy? But this event does give us context to his mindset. Shine didn't want Enna to have to go through the same hardships that he has. He was trying to warn her that the path of becoming a pro wasn't an easy one. And it's only when he sees that she fully understands that and is resolved to make it happen anyway that he acknowledges her. Like, Shine clearly does really care about his daughter, he's just really awkward at expressing his emotions. This story also kind of explains the possible meaning behind Enna's given name. Enna is made up of the kanji e and na, which mean picture and name respectively. Now, I've always thought that this is a pretty ironic name to give to the child who you don't want to become an artist, but this story completely recontextualizes it. Now, this is just my own thinking here, so I could be completely wrong, but I think it's likely that they came up with the name Enna after her birth, and after Shine painted that peony that he saw on the way home from hospital. He realized he couldn't live without art, as well as his newborn child, who brought hope back into his life. So he and his wife decided on the name Enna, painting name, the name of that painting, a peony blooming in the night. Enna's name is also referenced again in her 6th focus event, where the event song is literally titled The Name of That Painting Is. And there's even a peony on the song jacket. Except here I think the phrase is being used to show that it's now Enna who is making her own mark, and giving her name meaning with a painting of her own this time. Okay, tangent aside, let's take a look at the card set for this event. The main motif in these cards is rain and peonies, but we also have some daffodils here too. Peonies are known as the king of flowers and can mean nobility, sincerity, and wealth in flower language. And there is also a Japanese proverb which relates a woman's beauty to these flowers. She stands like a peony, sits like a tree peony, and walks like a lily. Tree peonies are the type of peony mentioned in the story, and I'm bringing this up because Enna is sitting in her card, so it could possibly be a reference to this proverb. Now, I actually don't have to do too much guesswork with this card set because there is an interview with the illustration team up on Colourful Palette's website. So we have a pretty clear outline of what they wanted to express with this set. In the interview, they mentioned that they wanted this set to tie in with Enna facing her future path whilst still being uncertain about it. And despite the cards being mainly monochrome, the illustration team took care to convey a sense of warmth with the lighting in each card. The setting is a western city and each card has rain, but in a different way. Enna is looking up to the falling raindrops, Mafuyu is standing on a bridge after a heavy shower, Len is looking at paintings of rain, and Kanade is taking shelter indoors. Another thing that differs across all of the cards are the patterns on everyone's clothes. The illustration team wanted to incorporate Enna's desire to live alongside art, so her tie and stockings are a vibrant orange with a mosaic pattern. And this is supposed to represent her aspirations for the future, which still aren't clearly defined. I love the look of these cards, by the way. The pops of colour are really cool. Okay, now let's look at each card individually, starting with Enna. She can be seen sitting outside an art supply store and looking up to the falling rain with a curious expression. Peonies are sprouting from the pathway, as well as the canvas in her hands. This canvas is intentionally left blank to show the infinite possibilities she can paint in the future. And the peony that is glowing close to her is supposed to represent the one she saw in her dad's painting. I've also seen people pair this card with Mizuki's kitty card, because it looks like she's holding the umbrella out to Enna, which is cute. Enna's boots are flat and comfortable to encourage her to take that next step forward in her life. Heels have actually been used before in other Nightcod cards to represent feeling trapped or not being able to move forwards, most notably in Mafuyu's marionette set, where her heels are impossibly high. Like, good luck walking in those. Mafuyu is still wearing heels in this set as well, though they're much more walkable now. Speaking of Mafuyu, she can be seen standing on a bridge and glancing at the peony beside her. The rain may have stopped, but the sky is still very gloomy, indicating that the storm hasn't cleared up completely yet. The pattern on Mafuyu's bow and socks is a complete mess, showing just how conflicted she is about the future. And a detail I really love about Mafuyu's outfit is that we only get a small glimpse of this chaos, like she's put together on the outside but a mess on the inside. She is holding a small canvas and, interestingly, a daffodil is sprouting from it. Now, the use of daffodils here was kind of driving me mad because I couldn't figure out their significance, and no, there's no mention of what they're supposed to mean in the interview. But then I looked back at some of Enna's other cards and realised she's been associated with this flower before. A couple times, actually. So my guess is that these daffodils are supposed to represent Enna and her art. Daffodils are present in Mafuyu and Kanade's cards, as well as the event logo. On the event logo, they're on this cloth that's covering the painting of the peony blooming in the night. On Mafuyu's card, they're coming from the canvas, but we can't see what's on it. And in Kanade's card, they're sprouting out of a painting on the wall. And this painting does kind of resemble Enna's art style, at least from a couple examples we've seen of it. Daffodils symbolize new beginnings and hope, as well as resilience since they survive through the winter and bloom in spring. However, since daffodils are tied to the story of Narcissus, they also carry the more negative meaning of narcissism and vanity. And this could tie in with how Enna used to be overconfident in herself, or how she always used to seek validation and praise. Next we have Len, who is seen peering into an art studio. Len was really curious about the exhibit, and that curiosity is reflected here too. He looks at the paintings from outside as if he wants to understand them, but since the problem was between Enna and her father, he can only help Enna from afar. Now we have Kanade, who is the 3-star of this set. She's the only one who is taking shelter from the rain indoors. We can see that she was writing something on the desk, but took a break to admire this painting on the wall. The daffodils emit a warm glow and Kanade looks as though she's nurturing them, a smile being on her face. And that would make sense if these daffodils are supposed to represent Enna, as Kanade has always acknowledged and praised Enna's art. The pattern on Kanade's bow and stockings is also pretty jumbled up, not as much as Mafuyu's, but it looks like an oil spill. Lastly, we have Mizuki, who is only a 2-star, so there isn't too much to say, but I do like this half shorts, half skirt thing she's wearing, and Mizuki's bow pattern is actually pretty uniform, maybe implying that she knows who she is and what her goals for the future are. And now we can move on to talking about the event song, I'm the Rain. This was Inabakumori's comment when the song was first revealed. This is Inabakumori. I was asked to make a song for Nightcod at 25 o'clock. I scooped up my reflection from the water's surface and found myself wondering, where did this water come from? And whilst pondering that, I created this song. It's been filled with each of the N25 members' charms, so please look forward to hearing and playing it for yourselves. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, Inabakumori has a lot of songs which are themed around or reference the weather, and Enna herself has been associated with rain before. She even has the kanji for clouds in her family name. Enna's first focus event is about her seeking recognition. When she enters an art contest and doesn't win anything, she trashes her room and almost gives up on art completely again. However, after listening to a song Kanade made for her, and the rest of Night Court reassuring her that her art has worth, Enna paints another painting, and what she paints is a girl looking up to the sky after it stopped raining. Enna describes the light as being Kanade's music, which cut through the dark sky and shone down on her. And this description is pretty similar to how the painting of the peony is described in Knowing the Unseen. Close to Grey has a pretty strong rain theming, and has a verse that's specifically about rain, and rain is being used here to represent Enna's past sadness. Enna's second focus event is about how she regrets quitting her art class and how she feels like she's way behind the rest of her peers. This story is also about Enna humbling herself and facing her own art, something that she has been avoiding doing this whole time. In the 3D MV for Nomad, rain can be seen falling in reverse, indicating that Enna is looking back on the past. And then during the chorus, the rain freezes in midair and falls back to the ground by the end of the song. Her paintbrush back in one piece as she has resolved herself to move forwards and do what she can now in the present instead of staying hung up on the past. Nomad is also sung in Knowing the Unseen's Afterlife, and the song is still actually pretty fitting here, since it has that rain connection and is about moving forwards. And since Rin was also present in the event story, it's not too jarring having her here instead of Len. You could also see it as Enna singing this song again, but now, like, from her dad's point of view, since he went through similar struggles to her. And then in Enna's third focus event, she bumps into Mafuyu on the street and it starts raining. So Enna invites Mafuyu back to her house and the rest of the story plays out from there. Rain is only mentioned once in Ainandes, but it's once again being used to represent sadness clearing up. Which finally brings us to I'm the Rain, where the use of this motif has pivoted entirely. Instead of this song being about the rain clearing or leaving the past behind, Enna is instead declaring that she is this rain. She has realized that if she wants to walk the path of an artist, then she has to accept all of the hardship that comes with it and learn from it. She's a mere droplet of rain, no different from any of the countless others falling to the ground, trickling off into a drain and eventually finding her way back to the ocean to start the cycle again, falling over and over again until she can find someone's hand and make her mark on the world. I'm the Rain is a song that can be interpreted in so many different ways, and part of the reason this video took me so long to make is because I really had to sit down and think about what the song is trying to say. So as always, feel free to share your own thoughts or interpretations in the comments. With that said, let's look at the song, starting with the vocaloid version. This MV is illustrated and animated by Nuku Nuku Nigiri Meshi and put together by Inabakumori. And I don't have too much to say about this MV, since to be honest I don't really understand it, but I do like how the kanji for sun is used as a box to frame the MV. Also the way the two Osage-chans mirror each other is fun, I especially like this part. And then at the end of the song we can see Osage-chan holding the light coming through the window, but it can also be seen as a blank canvas, which is a neat little reference to Enna. And at the very end of the song it turns into the kanji for sun again. So I find it interesting that for a song about being the rain, this girl is seen holding the sun instead. Next we have Proseka's 2D MV. This MV is illustrated by Oishi Same, and the video itself is put together by Omu. We open to a blank canvas and umbrellas falling along with the rain. And these raindrops are actually Morse code, which if read from bottom to top, read rain. And reading them backwards could perhaps be a reference to Nomad, where the rain was falling in reverse. We then see Enna in front of the canvas, questioning who she is, unsure if she wants to pursue the life of an artist or not. And this of course doubles for Enna's father, who went through the same uncertainties. The sights beneath the water's surface is probably referring to Shine's past, as Enna was unaware of the fact her dad almost gave up on art. So while remaining unaware of this, Enna simply drifted through her life like a cloud, unsure of what she wanted to do. Then we get to the pre-chorus, and Enna asks why she's always falling straight down and seeking someone's validation. All Enna wanted was for her art to be noticed, and the palm that she eventually found was Kanade's and the rest of Nightcord by extension. And whilst she's falling, she's looking back at the sky and taking in as much of it as she can, observing and learning from her friends along the way. When Enna declares that she's the rain, she's the only one who opens her eyes. And this could be because in the timeline of the Nightcord events, Enna is the first of the four to see a clear path towards her future. We then get a really pretty group shot of everyone, and what's interesting about the illustrations in this MV is that Kanade is the only one who's completely drenched, and Mizuki is the only one holding an umbrella. Kanade has a lyric later about not having time to pull out an umbrella because she's too busy creating songs to save others. And in the process, she's neglecting her own well-being and doesn't care that she's the only one still being drenched by the rain. Mizuki, on the other hand, has actually been depicted with an umbrella a couple of times, and she's always holding it out for someone else. At this point in the story, Mizuki hasn't come out to the rest of Nightcord yet, so the umbrella could represent the barrier she's still putting up between her and her friends. Though in the illustration here, we can see that the umbrella is closed, and she's sitting in the rain along with everyone else. So she doesn't want to have to put up this barrier, but she's still clinging onto it just in case. In the background, we can see countless picture frames and other items relating to art. Behind Enna is a big frame with a picture of the earth inside it, and I think this is supposed to represent the world of artists, and the countless others who are walking down the same path as Enna. As said by Len, rain is destined to be repelled by either an umbrella or a rooftop or something else, so it won't be easy for Enna to connect with people and make her mark on the world. And this next lyric can be read in two different ways. Not being able to become somebody because rain has no form, or not being able to become someone's sun because, well, she's the rain, not the sun. And not knowing enough pain to trouble the earth yet is Enna acknowledging just how much she still has to learn. Just like any craft, improvement comes from experience. Art especially, since anything can become inspiration for a piece. And Enna is only at the start of her journey. This line could also be a reference to how she was unaware of how much hardship her dad went through to become a professional artist. Something interesting to note in the lyrics is that world, or sekai, is written in katakana, just like how the sekais are referred to in the game. So every line with world in it has the double meaning of being both the actual world and the sekai. Enna's family name can mean dawn, so this lyric could be referring to how Enna is following in her dad's footsteps. And then the end goal is of course to learn what it takes to be an artist, that secret ingredient that Enna is still missing. So Enna will fall as rain until she finds her way to the ocean and finally achieves her dream. In this little instrumental section, we can see raindrops on the canvas and see picture frames again. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what this part is referring to, but how do you even pronounce this word?
Cumulonimbus.
This type of cloud produces rain and storms. So Enna saying that she wanted to separate herself from them could be her saying that she wants to be different and stand out from the crowd. Or it could be her saying that she doesn't want to be stuck in that sad, rainy mindset. Or it could also be her wanting to distance herself from her father and his work. We can hear rain sounds pretty clearly during this part, and when the camera zooms into Enna, we can see that her hair is wet. Here is the previously mentioned umbrella line from Kanade, and the rest of the lines here are pretty intentionally split up as well. I've also seen people point out that each of these lines could be a reference to previous Nightcord events. I really like this lyric here about being a single drop that'll go unnoticed, because that's what it feels like sometimes. The world is so large and full of so many creative people that it feels like you're just a tiny drop in comparison. And it's so hard to get yourself out there and be noticed. We reach the bridge, and Enna's line is interesting because if she had have been able to draw from the start, then she wouldn't have faced the same troubles and probably would have never met Nightcord. And that's what the climate change lyric is referring to, both to actual climate change and the fact that over time the empty sekai has grown warmer and more lively compared to when it was just Miku and Mafuyu. The chorus changes slightly, with Ena declaring that she wants to learn what troubles the earth. Again meaning that she wants to learn more and embrace all of these emotions so she can channel them into her art. And she herself becomes the secret ingredient that she was missing, ready to inspire the next generation of artists. Then the song leads into an instrumental section, which I really adore. Like, the song is pretty laid back and dreamy up until this point, but then the synths just go ham and it's like you've suddenly been shot up into space. And now this last part is a little confusing. But I interpret it as Ena meeting with her future self once she's achieved her dream and become an artist. And then, faced with that older version of herself, she realizes that yes, I'm glad I took this path, and confirms that her answer was the correct one. Also, they're so sneaky, making Mizu Ena sing the part about standing face to face with each other. And then the MV ends with a dropped umbrella and Ena reaching out and grabbing the air like a shonen protagonist. And that's the song. I hope that anything that I just said made sense. I think my favourite thing about I'm the Rain, apart from the genius use of the metaphor, is just how the song sounds. Like, right from the beginning, the song just sweeps you up in its calming atmosphere, and it really does imitate that feeling of just taking a moment and watching the rain outside. I'm the Rain doesn't have a 3D MV, but it does have choreography since it was performed in the 4th anniversary Connect Live. And can I just say that it's an absolute crime that this song has only been performed once? Like, the choreo is so upbeat and fun, and the staging is gorgeous, yet this performance is trapped in a paid live that happened 2 years ago. Like, stop gatekeeping this masterpiece. So the thing with this performance is that they're standing in a painting, and as the song goes on, Ena adds more and more elements until it becomes a complete and colourful picture by the end. At the beginning, there's nothing but grey, and a single street lamp to illuminate the stage. And then during the pre-chorus, a tree and a park bench appear, the lighting changing to a warm orange. Once the chorus hits, some buildings appear behind them, and I adore the little dance move they do as they say ame. Like, they wave their hands up and down and jump back and forth as they do so. It's really cute. Oh, and it's raining throughout this section of the song too. The stage turns to night during the instrumental break, as Nightcord continue to dance around. And then finally, for the last few lyrics of the song, the stage suddenly blooms into full colour, the falling rain instead turning into falling petals. Ena and Mizuki even look and reach out to each other during the face-to-face line, like, are you kidding me? And what's really cool is that if you look at the stage from further back, the stage is like a painting in progress, starting out with the shadows, and then the foreground, and then finally being filled in with colour at the end. Ena is quite literally painting out her future path before us. I also love how much the lighting makes the event outfits pop, like, they're just really pretty in this lighting. Lastly, while this song isn't related to Knowing the Unseen, I wanted to quickly mention Lost Umbrella's 3D MV. This song was added a year after I'm the Rain, and only a couple days before Ena's 6th Focus event. This MV is stunning, and I could go on about it for longer, but I will save you the time. I adore the way the raindrops look like diamonds, and how we finally have another MV with props after Potato, which was released like 50 years ago. I personally interpret Lost Umbrella as being about having a coping mechanism that is represented by the umbrella, but it all becomes too much for this girl to the point where her method of coping isn't helping anymore, as she's drowning from underneath the umbrella, and her hands are wet with her own tears. And that's why it's called Lost Umbrella, because that comforting place has been lost. This meaning doesn't really tie in with Knowing the Unseen, but I just think it's neat that Nightcord, who have always been heavily associated with rain and umbrella imagery, got to sing this song. And Suzuki Minori absolutely sung her heart out at this part. Anyways, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say. Let me know your thoughts on the event or anything else in the comments. My next deep dive will be on Kanade's 6th Focus event, so stay tuned if you're interested in that. It is probably going to be a very long video. But yeah, see you next time. But before we dive delper